comes to choosing the right tool for the job, it can be difficult to compare features and functionality across different software packages. So we thought it'd be useful to look at the options available when looking to create interactive assembly instructions and how Cadasio stacks up against SolidWorks Composer. Composer's main focus is creating 2D static imagery for use in traditional manuals. Content saved out from here includes rasterized images such as JPEGs and PNGs, as well as vector formats such as EPS and SVG. You can also save out animations, and there is the ability to create hyperlinked images too. Like Composer, Cadasio can create 2D imagery in both raster and vector formats, as well as being able to save PDFs and videos. But unlike Composer, Cadasio's main focus is creating interactive online content that can be instantly shared using either a QR code or unique link. So on paper, both software seem to have similar functionality, but as you'll see, there are some key differences. Let's start with Composer. In Composer, all items, whether that's 3D parts or 2D markup, are referred to as actors. You can manipulate actors, changing their position, render style, and visibility. Once everything is set how you want it, you capture a view by clicking the Create View button on the Views tab. A view is a snapshot remembering all the changes you made. In addition to the manipulation of the camera and 3D actors, images, text, balloons, and explode lines can be added to further enhance the view. As you progress with Composer, you'll build up all your views, which are shown on the left. These views can be activated, renamed, updated, and deleted. Since we're looking at its interactive output, you'll need to set a navigation in order to transition from one view to another. In the Composer player, there is a built-in navigation, but most users choose to create their own. You can manually place a link on any actor by editing its properties, but in this example, I'll use the pre-built navigation and position a next and previous button. At any stage, you can preview the interactivity by toggling the design mode. Let's switch to Cadasio and compare how we get the same results. As you can see, in Cadasio, the interface is much more streamlined, but the fundamentals are very similar to Composer. Like with Composer, we can control the position and rotation of objects using the triad. Objects can be hidden and shown, and there are a range of render styles to choose from to make the project look exactly how you want it to. Additional customizable markups such as images, text, item numbers, arrows, and explode lines can all be added too. In Cadasio, instead of views, we create steps, which remember the changes we make. All the steps can be accessed using the Steps Manager, and from here we can edit their settings. Cadasio steps have a number of settings that can be controlled, giving you a lot of flexibility. Out of the box, a Cadasio project is interactive, so there are some unique extras that can be included in a project, such as transition animations, camera animations, and the step pop-up. Whilst you can manually add links onto items within Cadasio, for simply navigating through your steps, there's no need to do anything. Let's go into View mode, and you can see there is an out-of-the-box navigation overlay at the bottom of the screen to go between steps. This overlay can be customised to match your company branding. Great, so as you can see, we've managed to achieve the same workflow in both Composer and Cadasio. And since we've only really used the basic functions, there is very little to separate the two at this stage. But once you've created your projects, what do you do with them then? Well, it's time to share them. Anyone who wants to view a Composer project in 3D are required to install the Composer player or run the Composer file from a package executable. This player is only available for Windows PC and has a minimum system requirement, which means that it may not function correctly on everyone's machine. Once installed, you can navigate between the views, similar to how you navigate when designing in Composer. Whilst you can choose to hide toolbars, there's really no customization that can be done to the player itself. If you need to share a Composer presentation online, you can embed the Composer player onto your own website. However, the player requires ActiveX technology, which is no longer supported and is blocked in all modern browsers. So realistically, this is not a viable option, and also means that you cannot get 3D interactive content from Composer to display on mobile and tablet devices either. However, interactive content is often mentioned as an output from Composer. But what is actually meant by this is a series of hyperlinked 2D images. These files are not that practical for the average user, as it requires an understanding of how websites are structured, as well as the ability to host them online. Because the links within these files need to be structured in a specific way, hosting on a website builder such as Webflow, Wix, and potentially WordPress can be problematic too. Cadasio, on the other hand, allows you to create an online shareable link with a few simple clicks. When you publish your project, you are given a URL for direct links, a QR code, and an embed code, so you can display the presentation directly in your website. Viewing published Cadasio projects is completely free. When someone visits the link, the project is displayed using the latest WebGL technology within the browser, meaning no additional software needs to be installed, and it can be viewed on mobile and tablet devices. Cadasio presentations are more than just linked static images. The viewer can fully interact with your presentation, rotating and zooming in and out to really understand your procedure. The overlay at the bottom of the screen gives a nice interface to change between steps and is fully customizable, and you'll notice that whenever you change between steps, Cadasio automatically animates the transition for you. Cadasio does have an offline viewer available for both Windows PC and Mac, as well as options to cache projects for situations where there may not be an internet access. Now that you've seen the differences in the interactive output of both software, let's take a look at some other differences that you'll want to consider when choosing between the two. SolidWorks Composer is installed locally on a machine and requires a Windows-based CAD grade workstation with a supported graphics card. These machines are often quite expensive, and it's recommended they're replaced every 3 to 5 years in order to remain fully supported with the latest versions of Composer. Cadasio runs within the browser and does not require an installation, and therefore does not require a CAD grade machine. And because it's browser based, it can be used on both Windows and Mac. SolidWorks Composer uses a serial number to activate, and a license can be active on a single machine at a time. If the license needs to be used on a different device, it has to be deactivated from the first machine and then activated on the second machine. Cadasio licenses are not tied to a specific machine, as they're assigned to a user account which is accessed through the browser. Therefore, to use Cadasio on another device, all that is required is to log into the account on that device. The recommended route to learning SolidWorks Composer is a 2-day training course. These courses are usually delivered at specialised training centres, although they can be accessed remotely. The training isn't included in the cost of the software and is charged per person at a cost of around £800. There are no expensive courses with Cadasio. We find that it's easy enough to be picked up within minutes. All learning can be completed in your own time, using the built-in interactive tutorials, free online videos and blogs. Trialling new software is often the best way to determine if it's the right solution. If you want to try out Composer, you'll need to contact a SolidWorks reseller where the sales team can arrange trials. Typically, these will last 30 days. You can start using Cadasio straight away for free right now. Whilst there are some limitations, the free account does not expire and allows you to create and publish 3D interactive presentations. Composer comes in one version, and this can be purchased at a one-off cost. However, if you require access to software updates, you'll also have to pay the annual maintenance fee. Pricing isn't available online, and you'll need to talk to a SolidWorks reseller for an up-to-date cost. However, at the time of publishing this video, in the UK, the cost of a Composer license is around £5,500, with a further £1,250 a year to keep it up to date. Cadasio is available in 3 versions: Personal, Professional and Premium. Pricing is much more transparent and listed directly on the website. As mentioned previously, you can get started for free, or choose Professional, which has the flexibility to pay monthly, or the top package, Premium, which is billed annually. Composer releases a new major version each year, which can be installed if the annual maintenance fee is paid. In recent years, these updates have been quite slim with very little new functionality added. Cadasio is constantly adding new, user-driven functionality, and it's typically updated every few weeks. The changelog and roadmap can be found on the Cadasio website, highlighting recent updates as well as what is to come. Both Composer and Cadasio require the import of 3D CAD data in order to create instructions. Composer is most commonly used alongside SolidWorks CAD and offers a direct import. If the SolidWorks geometry updates, the Composer files can also be updated. Composer doesn't handle CAD updates particularly well, however, if you need to rename parts in your CAD system, so you may find there is some rework required when updating. If you are using the technical illustration workshop to create linked images, you'll need to republish them all again after any CAD update. Cadasio can import common CAD formats and also has specific add-ons for SolidWorks, Autodesk Inventor, Autodesk Fusion, Siemens Solid Edge and Onshape. With all these add-ins, if the CAD geometry updates, the Cadasio project can also update. However, the update method in Cadasio is more intelligent than Composer's. If Cadasio recognises that some of the components don't match, perhaps due to a name change, you can manually assign components so that your project still updates as expected. When you make changes to your Cadasio project, you can choose to publish a new version, which is then instantly available online. Premium users have the ability to keep several versions of the same project available online too. Now that you've seen the main differences between SolidWorks Composer and Cadasio for creating interactive 3D instructions, why not make your own mind up on which tool is right for the job? Get started free for today and sign up at cadasio.com.